Just one more minute, Mayor. Give us one more minute, please.
Okay.
We are now live and you may begin the meeting.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Welcome everyone to our January 12th, 4 o'clock meeting for the City of Sierra Madre City Council meeting. I think we'll just go ahead and start and call the meeting to order. So I'll ask Madam City Clerk Aguilar if she can go ahead and make that roll call.
Thank you. Mayor Rachel Arizmendi.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Present.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Krebs.
Sorry, here.
And Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum. You may conduct city business.
Thank you. So happy New Year, everyone. It's great to see everyone, although it is virtual yet again. But it's good to see your rectangles here. And thank you for anyone else who's joining us. Just a couple of logistical items. First is that we are now opening up the Zoom to folks that would like to call in. So that is available for public comment. We are going to be practicing, so please be patient with us. But just make sure that if you are making a public comment, you raise your hand. We'll get further directions from staff in a few minutes, even before public comment. So just make note, if you have a microphone on your computer, some do not. One of the options you can do is to call in and listen in live that way. So we will try to see how this works, but I'm glad that we have another venue for folks to join us today. So with that, I will go ahead and move to the next item, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you can all please stand, I know that Mr. Carlson will have a flag for us, and we can all say it together. I pledge of allegiance
to
the
Flag
flag of the
of the
United
United
States
States of America and to
the
the
republic
republic
for which
it stands,
one nation, under God,
under
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And so I am also the inspiration speaker today, but the Pledge of Allegiance in itself, it's actually something I learned to recite when I was about 2 years old. And my grandmother worked in this, we called it the bunching shed. She would bunch green onions, and my uncle would take me around there to pick her up. And he found it was an easy way for me to make money. So he would have me recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and he'd have some of the people there just give me money. And I thought it was the greatest thing, you know, capitalism at its best when I was at a young age. But with reflection as to what happened last week at the Capitol and the attack that we had there, I'm sure all of us know exactly how we're feeling when we learned of what happened or saw any footage as to what happened there. You know, shocking is an understatement. A disgrace was another just word that came to my mind just seeing it. It was heartbreaking to watch that happen. You know, my parents came here in the 1970s with hardly any money in their pocket, and this was the land of the American dream, and that Capitol, DC, the White House, really was a beacon for people in different countries, and I think for the country we are in now too, for all of us. So as we saw what unfolded last week, I'm hoping and I'm very confident that we have a lot of faith in our government, in our country, and doing the right thing. No matter what party you identify with, this really wasn't about parties. This was about probably the most un-American thing I've seen. And again, is really difficult to watch. And on the other hand, we still have the pandemic that's ongoing. And I saw reports this morning that we're seeing 10 positive cases in LA County every minute. ICUs are beyond capacity. The ambulances are still waiting for hours, if not being told to not transport patients. We have 2 of our Sierra Madrians that also passed away from COVID. And if you saw the Mountain View News, we saw Jeff McGuire and also Mr. Frank Hall. And I know both of them were active in the community. But as I said, you know, there's some dark times, but I am very confident, and I know I have not lost faith. I know that people have joked that the 2020 hasn't really ended yet, that it's like 377th day of 2020, and we haven't quite got to 2021 yet. But I know we have brighter days ahead of us. I am very thankful for the city we live in. I'm very hopeful of the residents that live here. And I just want to ask everyone, to be safe, be respectful, and just for all of us to be kind to one another. Okay, so with that, we're going to go to the next item, which is approval of the meeting agenda. One thing we are going to do is for the public hearing for the tabulation of assessment ballots, because we first notified businesses that would be at 6:30, we're going to continue to keep that at 6:30. So if we need to take a recess from this meeting and move into that public hearing, we'll do so again at 6:30. And I believe City Manager England has a couple of other changes to the agenda.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Two additional changes on consent item C, award of construction contract. We listed the base amount as $1,263,875. That should be $1,243,710. The total amount with contingency is still correct. We just failed at our math at the beginning in the title there. And Councilmember Garcia caught that, so we appreciate that. Discussion item number 2, the cell phone tower and lease of city land. The parties to the contract should be the City of Sierra Madre and New Singular Wireless, PCS. That's how it's listed in the contract. In the staff report, I inadvertently listed Yukon Group, which is who we negotiated with, but will not be a party to the contract. And we've also updated Exhibit 1 with the map and legal description, and that has been forwarded to council.
Thank you, City Manager. Are there any other changes to the agenda? And if not, I look for a motion to approve the agenda with those changes.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Creeds. All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 We doing this all at once? Aye.
Oh, actually, maybe that is a question for City Attorney. Do we need to do the individual roll calls on virtual?
It would make things easier, yeah.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, would you like to take the votes on that?
Yes, ma'am. The motion to approve the agenda as amended, Mayor Rachel Arizmendi,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss,
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps,
Aye.
and Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
The motion to approve the agenda as amended has passed 5-0. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next item we have is to approve the meeting minutes from December 8th.
Madam Mayor, I have a small edit to the minutes.
Okay.
On page 5 of the minutes, under natural resources and energy, we have changed Clean Power Alliance default to 100% renewable energy, and then 3 bullets later, Clean Power Alliance changed default to 100% renewable energy. I recommend striking one of them. It's redundant.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Are there any other edits or changes? Okay, with that change and that amendment or edit, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. And Madam City Clerk, if you can take the votes.
Yes, ma'am. The motion to approve the meeting minutes with striking the redundancy on page 5. Motion by Councilmember Parkhurst and Councilmember Garcia. Mayor Rachel Arizmendi.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps.
Aye.
And Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, the motion is carried 5-0.
Very much. The next item is Mayor and City Council reports. And I do want to ask, I know new council members, I'm putting you on the spot, but because of our little hiccup during our last meeting, I didn't give you the opportunity to really share some remarks on your swearing in and your new position. So if you want to take the opportunity on top of any report that you may have, it would be great to get that into the record. So maybe I can put the spotlight on Mayor Pro Tem Goss first.
Okay, I was going to defer to our newbies, but that's fine. Very short report. Got to attend, I think, with everyone here, the honors virtual dinner back in December. And it was wonderful to see such outstanding citizens earn the awards that were earned. And I just wanted to reiterate my congratulations to all of them. Loved watching Mr. and Mrs. Taylor talk from their living room. I thought that was amazing. I love them. I love their store. And I wanted to congratulate Madam Mayor for what I consider to be a absolutely superlative MC performance. That was not easy to pull off, and you did it beautifully. So
thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And while our council members are thinking, because again, I'm putting them on the spot to do an acceptance speech of sorts, I'll just jump in really quickly too. I know it's been so long since we met, but everything that was done in Kirsten Court, thank you to each and every one of you. I know Michelle Keith was still very active in doing that and getting the students over the middle school. Allison Flucky also, I think we had, did Civic Club, I think also participated in that, and anyone else that really contributed to making our downtown still feel like a regular holiday was very nice to see. Also, quarantine canteens, Sierra Madre thrives, yay. They're back on the road again, and Wednesday will be the first day back. I think they're already sold out, which is great news. But again, it gives another opportunity for another restaurant in the following Wednesday. And we're hoping to keep this going every week. We know it's not just about our restaurants that need our support, but I know Thrives is also looking to find ways to support our other businesses. And I thought I had one more item, but I can't think of it right now. So whoever would like to report next.
I can go ahead and take it.
Please.
So I'll just take a quick second. It's this is all new for me, and it's big shoes to fill with the former Mayor Capocha and former Mayor Harabedian, and I really thank them for the guidance. They were the ones that called me frequently and encouraged me to run, and I thank them for that. At our meeting in December, Mayor Capocha talked about getting involved in the Clean Power Alliance, and I really think that that's been a great move for the city, and I will come back to that in a minute. And I also want to thank the former Mayor Harabedian for getting me involved in the city solar project. I'm really excited about the opportunity that poses for the city, and the potential in putting us towards on a green path. I'm honored to serve, to represent the people of Sierra Madre. This is we have a great city, incredible staff, a wonderful city manager, and we've got a lot of work to do this year. So thanks to everybody for that. Also, I want to echo your comments, Mayor, about the challenging times we live in. The city is now at 356 cases, according to the county. I just read that if you're going outside and working outside the home, when you come back, they're recommending you wear a mask. That's how contagious this is right now and how widespread it is. So I just encourage everybody to stay safe. I do believe that there are brighter days ahead of us, but right now it is some very challenging times. I'd also like to think about all of the heroes that are out there, the heroes in our healthcare system, the nurses and the doctors who are not getting any time off, working around the clock, the heroes even at the nation's capital. Brian Sicknick, who was one of the Capitol Police that was killed last Wednesday, and Eugene Goodman, who was one of the Capitol Police that also helped protect our legislators during the events that happened. And then on a more positive note, last Thursday, Annalise Carlson and I attended a meeting of the Clean Power Alliance. And the city is not going to have one, but 2 solar projects by the end of the year. The Clean Power Alliance is offering every city that's a member of the Joint Powers Authority a 3 megawatt solar and a 3 megawatt hour battery backup for our system. And I think that it's likely to go in the city yards to help make sure that we have uninterrupted power for our water pumps. But I'm really excited about this, and this just underscores the value that we've got in our enrollment and our participation in the Clean Power Alliance. We'll have a second solar project there that will help out our city and our residents. So with that, I'll turn it over to others.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. It's exciting news.
I have a very short report. I was going to mention, as the mayor did, about the reinvigoration of the Sierra Madre Thrives program. I think, for everyone who wasn't able to participate in it in the first round should know that there's sort of a dual aspect to it. One is to order food for your family, which will support our restaurants, but also an opportunity to order a donated meal for our residents in need, and those will be delivered. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of both aspects of it, which I think is just really important, both from supporting our local businesses as well as supporting our fellow community members who are having a tough time given all that's going on. In terms of sort of harkening back to December, gosh, that seems a long time ago now. But yeah, I have to say that just given the events of the last month, one of the things I am most grateful for is the sort of recent and made history of this council working together and being so cooperative to just solve problems that face our city and face our residents, and sort of not engaging in some of the things we're seeing in Washington. So I'm very hopeful that that's going to be the order of the day for this council, and that's certainly my intention. So I'm very honored to participate in making sure that we as a community can come out of this as strong as we can, and then sort of power forward and put our businesses back on track and all of the things that we love about the city. So happy New Year, everyone. Let's try to be safe and come out of this pandemic as soon as possible. I know that a city manager mentioned that Kensington either has or will be getting is on the vaccine cycle, so that's good to know that our local residents are being able to take advantage of that, and so hopefully soon that will be available to a broader swath of the community, and we can see those numbers that we see every day start going down instead of going up. So everyone be safe, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Councilmember Creeves. Councilmember Garcia?
Yeah, so yeah, December was quite a while ago, and I didn't have any prepared remarks then, and I don't now. But as far as serving the city, it is an honor to serve the city, and I vow to keep in mind that I was elected to be the voice of the citizen in the city of Sierra Madre, and that is my goal and my intent, the reason I am here, and I will make sure that I continue to do that. As far as former mayors Capocha and Harabedian, they did leave some big shoes to fill, as Councilmember Parkhurst mentioned. But I'm grateful for knowing them and for their mentorship of me through the years, and always a wise word from both of those Johns. Great people. So hopefully we will continue the non-political politics of city government, and we will go forward. As far as report, most of it has already been mentioned, but yes, it was great to see Kirsten Court and the crush down there, the menorah and I don't know if the Festivus pole was up this year. I think it was. It was great to see that. I did notice the light posts up and down Baldwin. The Kiwanis Club were part of that in decorating those, keeping a very festive atmosphere when we did not have the candlelight walk this year. But yet we still felt the community. And as many of you know, all of you know, that this city really is based on community. So my goals on a go forward basis is to really foster that within the youth and the adults and the new residents, that we have nice things because we have people that are willing to step up and help out and make our town the best town that I've ever lived in or could even dream of. Also, I'd like to, again, as Mayor Pro Tem Goss commended Mayor Arizmendi for her MC job of the honors dinner. It was a wonderful job. She kept it entertaining. She had little questions in there to keep us engaged. I thought that was great. And all of the deserving honorees from the staff, the entire staff was obviously deserving, and the local businesses, et cetera. It was a pleasure to see the Taylors in their living room. That was a nice thing, and to see the younger generation of business owners as well. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Garcia. I did remember the things that I forgot in my report, but I did see that the pool will be open on Monday, on Martin Luther King Day. So we're excited for that. I know it's a little bit later than we hoped, but to see an opening date's great. And what I forgot to recognize, and after I saw Director Reynoso on the screen, I remembered Public Works did so much for that Kirsten Court. Thank you to you and your staff. Please extend our appreciation. And I know the city staff just in general works so hard on that. And, you know, a lot of that happens behind the scenes or at night, like little elves coming out and it just magically appears. So again, much appreciation and thank you, and extend our thanks to the team. Okay, with that, we have public comment next, and we did receive some public comment via email, and Madam City Clerk Aguilar is going to read those out. And if there's anyone else that would like to make public comment on any items not on the agenda, please go ahead and take the time to do that now. Again, if you are calling in, you'll need to turn off your video. The feeds clash together, so please make note of that. And while folks are calling in, if there is public comment, I'm going to ask the city clerk to please read the public comment received via email.
And there were 4 emails received for items not on the agenda. The first email received was from David Gordon, and his email reads, "I would urge the new council to mend the relationship with the Planning Commission, perhaps by having a joint meeting. Given the monastery development, it is crucial that the role and functioning of the Planning Commission be clarified. Its wings have been severely and unnecessarily clipped, banning it even from first consideration of design review for new single-family houses. The monastery development would be the largest in Sierra Madre for a generation, and in consideration of it should be delayed until COVID allows in-person meetings to take place. Council should ask staff to see how this can be accomplished while meeting state mandated time limits." The second email received today was from Gary Hood. Mr. Hood's email reads, "As you know, community safety is #1 in my concerns. More than just the police department and fire department, community safety is also involved in the Planning Commission's work. As an example, if a variance is granted over a building code, it could unsafely impact an occupant and put the city at risk for a lawsuit. I can give you examples if you want. As many of us see it, the Planning Commission acts on behalf of the community with laws and codes that protect us all and need to be followed. Most recently, the Planning Commission's job description has changed to where now city staff have taken over some of the PC work or Planning Commission work. I can go on and on about this, but it's an easy fix. Council needs to vote on putting the Planning Commission back to the way it was. 5 members is okay for now, but we need all 7 back in place. The Planning Commission needs to assume responsibility like they had before. The communication problem from City Council and staff to the Planning Commission needs to be fixed, not remove the Planning Commission from looking at designs and codes. Fire Department, the Fire Department needs 2 firefighters on the engine company when they respond. 2 is safer and more effective. Thank you, respectfully, Gary Hood. The third email received is from Deborah Sheridan, and her email reads, "Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for taking on this mostly thankless task of running our wonderful city. I would like to remind you, as if you need it, that not only are we in a horrendous pandemic, but there's an equally horrendous threat to our very security and democracy. That said, I have several concerns I would like you as a council to address. Number 1, Madam Mayor, will you please publicly read all emails you receive for the council meetings? As has happened in the last year, we members of the public could not always make our opinions known due to technical failures. You can limit each one to 3 minutes should you feel that is necessary. Number 2, monastery property. I realize the monastery and the developer New Urban West want to get the sale and commencement of the plans to build 42 houses completed as soon as possible. But I repeat, we are in a pandemic, and even Preserve Sierra Madre has not had much luck in having any meaningful meetings with New Urban West or the monastery. What about town hall meetings? They are certainly less than adequate via Zoom, as seen with the last attempt. I have contacted our state representative, Anthony Portantino's office, to see if the 45 days we have to respond to the environmental impact report can be extended. As of today, we don't even know if the EIR has been published. And number 3, Planning Commission. I, for one, am quite distressed that any power of the Planning Commission has been taken away. Any power the Planning Commission has been taken away. The Planning Commission is our residents' voice. Their last 2 meetings have been canceled, yet I just learned of a proposed 30-unit apartment complex on Suffolk. By Sierra Madre standards, that is large. Who are neighbors able to contact if these projects like this one do not go through the Planning Commission? There are several problems with this particular proposal, but I am limited to 3 minutes. I want you to be aware of the problem we face because of the castration of the Planning Commission's duties. Thank you, Deborah Sheridan." And then the 4th email received was from Ann Chesterman, and her email reads, "Greetings, council members. Thank you for your service and dedication. My concern is the level of communication with the city, the public, and the outside interests, which in this case boils down to developer aspirations. I am also concerned that the public's aspirations are made irrelevant when it comes to decision-making and the modalities of setting and abiding by policies and codes. Currently, we are looking at the potential development at the monastery and a development on Suffolk, which is completely outside the 2-30-13 stipulations. The proposed structure would be higher than the 30-foot limit already established, and the setback would only be 15 feet. I found out about it because of citizens emailing Preserve Sierra Madre, of which I am a member. There is also the newly built house at 260 East Sierra Madre Boulevard, which takes up far more than 30% of the lot. With the previous council, the mayor chose to remove a planning commission member against the protestations of the public, even with their writing to him and speaking at public comment. Now the planning commission has been removed from even further relevance as to design and inspection of development plans, and the city staff is left to shape the decision-making process. On December 1st, there was a town hall meeting held online and there were 25 attendees. This town has close to 12,000 residents. Recently, across Baldwin Boulevard was a sign for the Little League. We also have banners for people running up the mountain and a large plant that blooms in March and a weekend art fair. Why is it we don't have a banner for council meetings, planning commission meetings, and any civic event such as a December 1st town hall? We go to all the trouble and expense to elect our council. Candidates work hard and spend their money to reach the public. We go through the chore of holding elections and the voting process. Why is it so preposterous to have a banner for public outreach for our civic affairs? This is a small town, and any impact on it has potential effect on all who cherish living here. I have a hard time finding a Mountain Views news, and I do not do social media and find it to be an inappropriate means for public notifications. We all see the banners across Baldwin. So tell me, how dedicated are the council members to representing the people? For the new council members and candidates, how do you think you're reaching the public during your campaign went? Wouldn't it be wonderful to keep that level of communication going? My request is that the Planning Commission come on full board as it was up until recently, and that there be a strong and obvious connection with the public on all issues that concern the quality of life as it is now in Sierra Madre. To neglect such a simple effort reflects an attitude of avoidance and disregarding of the people as the primary and most relevant facet of our town. Yes, we can be busy and already have full plates with maintaining our lives. All of the more reason for a strong and blatant method for making sure the public is informed. Just like the Little League did. Show us how important we are to you. Thank you, Ann Chesterman. And those were the 4 emails received, Mayor, for items not on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk, if you are. Let's see, Mr. Delgado, do we have anybody online waiting for a public comment for items not on the agenda? Or any hands raised for attendees?
Madam Mayor, we do have 3 hands raised to provide comment. I will allow these callers to speak at this time.
Thank you.
Caller, you are live for public comment. You may proceed.
Hello, this is Deb Sheridan. I guess it's my turn. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for reading the emails as I had requested. And I'm hoping that you will continue to Zoom in the future. I have just a couple of things. I'd like to thank our new city council again for your service and our 2 older members. Also, the Festivus poll was there. At least I think I saw it. But I have another question that I really would like to ask. And that is, since Governor Newsom doesn't seem to ever give an answer, is there any way that you can tell us when we can be vaccinated? I'm wondering if maybe the fire department could do it. I even called the Kensington because I had heard that, you know, there's extra vaccines that they just throw out when everybody's done being vaccinated in hospitals or wherever. And I said, I'm really old. Can I come get my vaccination? And she was less than polite, shall we say. So anyway, thank you very much. I thank you again. And you already know what I was about to say. So thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Sheridan. You're getting a pass on this. We're not going to allow people to go twice on public comment, but given that we are going through new technology here, and we can do a follow-up on vaccination updates, and maybe our city manager can give it to us, and hopefully before our next meeting, but if not, we'll see how we can communicate that out. Okay, Mr. Delgado, we have another person on waiting in line for public comment, and maybe someone that did not provide public comment earlier via email.
We do, Madam Mayor. I will allow them to speak now.
Thank you.
Good evening, caller. You are live for public comment. Please state your name and city of residence for the record.
Yes, hi. Lynn Coleman, Sierra Madre.
Go ahead, you are live.
Thank you. I would like to request that any further review of the monastery development be delayed until COVID is sufficiently under control that we can properly meet in person. Virtual meetings do not easily allow for full participation of many members of our community. Neither does meeting at 4 p.m., as many residents are still at work, don't end their workday till 5, and may not get home until closer to 6 p.m. The result is that we are, by the very nature of both remote meetings and the start time during working hours, excluding residents who are not able to participate. It is important that the City Council do everything possible to include as many residents in the process. And the only way to successfully do this is to hold in-person meetings after working hours. I attended the recent City Council meeting when it was very apparent that there were several issues between the Council and the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was then reduced from 7 to 5 members, and the design review function was removed from the commission and delegated to city staff. The timing is suspect when we are looking at the largest housing development in decades. It is prudent that we have design review by members of our own community for this project. I would ask that City Council revisit the importance of the Planning Commission in the review process and work to reestablish a positive and productive relationship with the Planning Commission for the benefit of all Sierra Madre residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. And Mr. Delgado, I believe we have someone else on the line.
Caller, you are live for public comment. Please state your name and city of residence for the record.
Yes, hello. My name is Alex Arrieta from Sierra Madre. I am calling about the monastery development and want to express my concern around the fact that there hasn't been sufficient time for the public, the city residents, to get real transparency on the project and the planned development in the middle of the pandemic. Obviously, myself, my family, as well as all other residents are more concerned with not catching the virus and staying alive. So it's anticipated that you're not going to get the kind of response that you would ordinarily get within a public setting. So I'm respectfully asking that any further consideration on the monastery project at this point be delayed for some time until the pandemic gets under control here in LA County. And it's safe to have more frequent public hearings so residents can weigh in and provide input and get some visibility and transparency about the most significant development project in the history of Sierra Madre. It's too significant to not wait to allow for ample opportunity for residents to weigh in and assess how this is going to impact the last open space in Sierra Madre. And it's too important for the city to not give that consideration, and for City Council, in your authority, to delay further consideration of the project and delays. And the delay will be entirely worthwhile if you just hold off and allow for a safe environment publicly for residents to weigh in on this. And so I ask the City Council to seriously consider that and to ask city planners and Urban West and monastery development leaders to hold off until this pandemic gets under control in LA County and there could be sufficient public comment and transparency brought on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arrieta. Okay, Mr. Delgado, I believe we have one more person.
Madam Mary, we do have one more person. I will allow them to talk now. Caller, you are live for public comment. Please proceed.
This is David Gordon here, and my email has been read out, so I will keep my remarks brief. First of all, I wanted to welcome the new council and the new members of the council, and I think we have, again, a very good council. My remarks are about the monastery and the need to allow the public in person to get to grips with this issue. So I would like to add my voice to the others to request that the city investigate how to find a way of allowing the public to meet in person. Now, there are state mandated deadlines, and the MOU has deadlines as well. So I would ask that the staff be asked to look into the ways of extending this timeline out so that the public can really understand what's going on. There's so much distraction, and last week provided another set of distractions, but we need some time to be able to address the city's affairs. So that's all I want to say. Thank you very much indeed. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. You also get a pass for this meeting for your comments and adding it on. But again, we'll figure out how to manage these for the next meeting, but thank you for your comment. Okay, so we can move on to the agenda. We've got our action items next. We have our consent calendar, and Madam City Clerk Aguilar, if you can provide the report for us, please.
Yes, there are 4 items on this evening's consent calendar. Consideration of resolution 2101 approving certain demands. It is recommended the City Council hereby ratify payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $162,216.96. Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $2,471.25, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $410,537.36. Consideration, item number B, consideration of resolution 2102 approving certain demands. It's recommended that the City Council approve payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $545,036.99. Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $6,875.59, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $432,502.89. Item number C is the award of a construction contract for the fiscal year 2020-2021 water main replacement project in an amount not to exceed $1,368,000 to Big Ben Inc. What amount that was changed? No. And award an agreement with RKA Consulting Group for the construction inspection services for an amount not to exceed $63,000, and approve a budget transfer of $431,000 from the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District loan to the CIP budget. And the recommendation is that the City Council award a construction contract to Big Ben, and this one is for the corrected amount, $1,243,710 for the fiscal year 2020-2021 water main replacement project, and include a 10% contingency of $124,290. Also recommended that the City Council execute an agreement with RKA Consulting for the daily inspection services for the fiscal year 2020-2021 water main replacement project in an amount not to exceed $63,000. And lastly, recommended the City Council approve the budget transfer of $431,000 from the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District loan to the CIP budget. Last item, number D, is consideration of ratification of acceptance of an anonymous donation of $200,000 to the police and fire departments. And it is recommended that the City Council ratify city staff's acceptance of the $200,000 anonymous donation by minute order. That concludes my presentation. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. So for any of our council members, do we have any questions for staff regarding the consent calendar and any of the items on there before we open it up for public comment? Any questions?
No questions, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, could I just get clarification? I want to make sure the public is aware that that was a donation of $100,000 to our police department and $100,000 to our fire department. I just want to make sure that's out there.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, if there are no questions, we'll open up consent calendar for public comment. And I probably should have prompted that a little bit earlier. I know it takes some folks some time to call in unless you are on Zoom right now, where you can just raise your hand. And I'll ask Mr. Delgado whenever he's ready to go ahead and allow someone to speak if they are online for public comment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you are looking to provide public comment and you joined through our Zoom client, go ahead and raise your hand. If you dialed in using a phone and you want to get in line for public comment, please dial *9 on your phone to get in line for public comment. Again, if you dialed by phone, the prompt is *9, and that will put you in line for public comment. And Madam Mayor, we do have one request for public comment, and I will patch them through now.
Thank you.
Mr. Gordon, you are live for public comment. You would need to unmute yourself to provide your comment.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I have no comment.
All right, Madam Mayor, it does not appear anyone else has public comment on this.
Okay, thank you. I feel like patching them through is like watching someone walk down the aisle to the podium to speak. So with that, we'll bring it back to discussion for our council.
Madam Mayor, this might be more of a question or discussion, but if either Director Semino, Director Reynosa, or City Manager England can speak to the terms of the loan of $431,000 from the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, that would be helpful.
So I think Director Reynoso can correct me if I make a mistake, but it's a zero interest, 10-year loan.
City Manager,
Hey,
very
Gabe. Yeah.
muffled.
Sorry.
I couldn't hear you.
My internet may be struggling right now.
There.
Am I
Stand
back?
right
Okay.
there.
It's a zero interest 10-year loan from our water district.
Thank you. That was my understanding. I just wanted to confirm that was in fact the case. The best kind of loan, 0% interest.
With no amortization, just a bullet at the end.
Councilmember Cribbs, so we will pay 10% of the total loan amount annually. So right now, council's authorized a loan of up to 2.8 million. And we will pay $280,000 annually until the loan is paid off.
I was on mute. So I wanted to share, it really was exciting news to get the email over the holidays regarding the anonymous donation. And it was such a surprise. And thank you to whoever the donor is. I believe we're going to have a thank you letter through the person we're corresponding with, just to express our sincere thanks. And, you know, in the history of, at least that I was asking staff about, we haven't seen a donation of this size going directly to our public safety. So very exciting. And again, I know it's going to be well needed, especially what we've gone through in this past year with the pandemic and with our fires. So thank you to our donor out there. Any other discussion before entertaining a motion?
Real quick, Madam Mayor.
Please.
I just wanted to add my voice to what you just said. It's been a very difficult year for police, for firefighters, fire departments. And I think this is just a wonderful way to start out 2021 with a very hopeful and optimistic gift by somebody who believes in those institutions here in Sierra Madre, as I do, and I think we all do. So thank you to whomever it is. It's a very wonderful gesture, and that money is going to come in very, very handy for public safety in this community.
And I would just add that, you know, when I spoke to City Manager England, you know, about the staff thinking about creative ways of thanking our anonymous donor. And so I would, you know, ask that everyone sort of be thinking about, you know, in addition to the letter that we're going to send through our channels, if there's ways to you know, thank and honor our anonymous donor, you know, in a public way, obviously without naming him or her. I think that would be great, because I do think that, as everyone mentioned, this is an unprecedented outpouring of support from someone in our community, and I think it would be great for the public to know about it, even if the identity of the donor isn't known.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to pass the consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you for that second. And Madam City Clerk Aguilar, if you can take the roll call on the votes, please.
Yes, ma'am. The motion to approve the consent calendar. Madam City Mayor.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Aye.
Council Member Edward Garcia.
Aye.
Council Member Kelly Creeps.
Aye.
And Council Member Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, the motion to approve has passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, as a reminder, our public hearing item is going to be moved to 6:30 p.m. So we'll move down to discussion items. And Madam City Clerk, you're speaking more than I am today, but it is you next to present the next item.
And it's a small presentation. Every year, the City Council votes to select City Council liaisons and voting delegates and alternate voting delegates to serve and represent the City of Sierra Madre on various agencies and groups, commissions, and boards. And so the city staff is asking that the mayor make appointments to city council members to serve in those positions. There are 3 resolutions that must be approved in order to ratify those decisions. And so city staff is asking the city council to consider resolution number 2103, which is designating a voting delegate and alternate voting delegate to the Los Angeles County Sanitation District. Those delegates are traditionally the mayor and mayor pro tem. So the resolution reflects that appointment for Mayor Arizmendi to serve as the voting delegate for Sierra Madre on the Sanitation District, and Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss to serve as the alternate voting delegate. Also for consideration is Resolution 21-4, designating a voting delegate and alternating voting delegate to the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And lastly, Resolution number 21-05 is designating a voting delegate and an alternate voting delegate to the League of California Cities. Madam Mayor, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Madam City Clerk or for myself or any other staff from the council? Okay, seeing none. We can open this up for public comment. And again, I will get better at this. We should have opened that up earlier, but Mr. Delgado, if we can open up for public comment on this item, please. And as he's doing that, just a thank you to all the council members for your prompt responses and your interest. Hopefully we're able to meet your desires.
Madam Mayor, we do not have any phone callers at this time. We do have someone logged in via Zoom. So if you would like to provide public comment, go ahead and raise your hand now and we will patch you through for public comment. And Madam Mayor, we do not have any requests for public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll bring it back to council for any discussion and/or a motion to approve the 3 resolutions and the appointments.
I move to approve the appointments by resolution.
Thank you.
Second.
And a second from Councilman Parkhurst. So that was for all 3 resolutions and the appointments. And Madam City Clerk, if you can do a roll call for vote, please.
And Mayor Rachel Arizmendi.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps.
Aye.
And Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
The motion to approve the mayor's appointments to the various commissions and approval of resolutions number 2103, 2104, and 2105 have been approved unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you so much and happy liaisoning, council members. For our next item, we have consideration of construction of cell phone tower and lease of city land. And I believe we have Mr. City Manager England that will present that, or maybe it's Acting City Clerk Aguilar.
This one's me, Mayor. The questions will likely go to the Planning Director or Public Works Director.
All right.
This item is for the construction and lease of a cell tower generally located on the west side of the Public Safety Building of approximately 240 square feet, including airspace. If approved, the city would receive $30,000 annually for the lease in the general fund with a 2% annual increase beginning in year 3 from the rent amount. The initial term is for 5 years and there are 4 additional 5-year optional terms. And if any other carrier co-locates on the cell phone tower, the city will also receive a portion of that rent as well. The finance, the revenue is nice, but the very exciting thing is how poor cell phone coverage service is in Sierra Madre. So we have an opportunity to make it much, much better here.
Thank you, City Manager. Do you have any questions for City Manager or any other staff?
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Please.
Mr. City Manager, could you maybe off the top of your head compare the revenue we're potentially receiving from this from other similar contracts we've entered into with other providers?
Certainly, Mayor Pro Tem. Prior to bringing this forward for consideration, staff compared the rental rates in our peer cities, South Pasadena and other locations, and determined that standard rent is between $2,000 and $3,000 per month. The monthly rental rate is in line with what we receive for the remaining cell tower leases that we have out at the yard right now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Creeds.
Was there any discussion during talks with the carrier about potential or actually anticipated co-locators or other subleases, or are we just providing for that as a contingency for future?
Councilmember Cribb, so the language in the contract is pretty standard. You'll see that in all cell tower leases. However, we're hopeful that co-location will occur. On the cell towers that we have in place at the yard, we do have co-location on one of the towers. Due to this location in the center of town, we do think it makes it an attractive spot for co-location, but it'll be up to the owner of the cell tower to determine who or if anyone co-locates there.
And
Please, Councilmember Parkhurst.
when would it go live? When would it be operational?
So I'll defer to the city attorney. I believe there's a certain period after the contract is signed that it has to be executed by. City attorney, do you recall off the top of your head what that term is?
Sorry about that. Thank you, City Manager. So I believe that the contract currently states that, well, before even after executing this contract, the applicant needs to secure the permits from the city. So they need to go before the Planning Commission, and the design is going to be reviewed by the Planning Commission. And then after that's reviewed by the Planning Commission, it's going to go to the City Council for the City Council's approval. So once the City Council approves and all the permits have been issued, only then will it begin, only then will the effective date, which is to be determined because we don't know when the council or planning commission are going to hear this contract. Only then will they begin to pay rent. So we'll have to wait for the administrative process to be completed.
And once that's once it's approved, or assuming it is approved, then how long does it take for it to be built and put into operation?
The actual construction of it, I'm not sure. I think maybe that's something that the Public Works Director would know.
Good evening, members of the council. I don't know how long it will take to build a tower of this size. The past ones that were built in the city yard, just from my recollection, probably about 6 months to erect a tower of this size.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Please.
City Attorney Garagosian, I believe what I read within the lease agreement is that we will not be receiving rents on the effective date, but the effective date, after the effective date, once construction starts, or within a certain amount of months from the effective date is when the rents will begin, not on the effective date certain. That's my understanding per the contract language.
Yeah, I'm looking at the terms of the contract now. It reads, commencing within 10 months of the effective date of this agreement, on the first day of the month following the date that the tenant commences construction, which I believe is what you were referring to, Councilmember Garcia. The effective date currently is the date this agreement is signed, is listed as the effective date. So like I said, it's, even though this contract reads that 10 months after the effective date, they're contemplating that they're going to have the application submitted and complete before the Planning Commission and the City Council within that 10-month period. That's what they're expecting to get done. It's not clear that they can actually get a complete application before the city, and that the Planning Commission will be able to hear it, and the City Council is going to be able to hear it within that 10-month period. And that's why they have the backup date, which is construction, so whichever occurs first.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney.
Okay, do we have any other questions on this item?
I think just one more of staff, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Please.
As far as the escalator that starts on the first day of the second year of 2%, is that also standard? I know we talked about what was standard regarding the rent amount, but as far as the annual escalator, is that a standard number?
Councilmember Garcia, I've seen it as a standard percentage increase. I've seen it as a COLA or CPI. In this case, we didn't negotiate on the 2% as we thought it was reasonable for both parties.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, again, I should have opened up, asked people to call in for a public comment before this item began, but if you would like to call in out this time to provide comment on this item, please do so now. And for those of you that are joining us on Zoom, please raise your hand and Mr. Delgado can acknowledge you. And since I know I have a few seconds, now that I see Director Semino, if you can extend my thank you to the Public Works team. I just happened to see Director Reynoso at the time on video.
I will, Madam Mayor. I'll let them all know.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, it does not appear that anyone that is currently joined to the meeting is raising their hand for public comment. So you do not have any public comment at this time.
Okay, and no call-ins at this time either, Mr. Delgado?
You do not have any dialed-in callers either.
Thank you. I just assumed entire public would be joining in and saying how exciting this is. So I'll bring this back for discussion with the council. Any further discussion on this item?
If I may, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Garcia, please.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a good deal, especially in light of the information that has been articulated by city staff and our city attorney. I did look at the consumer price index for prices on cell phone plans for consumers, thus the consumer price index, and it has been going down through time. So there's probably more subscribers, but as far as pricing is concerned, it has been going down. So to even get a COLA or an escalator on the rent, I think that's good for the city. I'm very happy with it. As an economist, I expect inflation to go up anywhere between 2 and 2.5% per year. So I would have wanted a 2.25% COLA, another 1/4%, which would have netted us in future value approximately another $30,000 through if the contract is extended through all the contract iterations or 25 years. But researching and seeing what I did find, I'm thrilled that there is an escalator and COLA in there for the revenue, given that it's pretty much a piece of, a section of property that's really not utilized. And it'll be a benefit to the residents to have better coverage, as we know as residents of our town that sometimes we struggle with that. So and right there in the city center. So I'm grateful and I'm hopeful that there'll be some subleases on there as well, and I would assume so, and that would just mean more revenue for the city. So good job, staff. Thank you.
Any other comments for discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Parkhurst, please.
So I would agree. I would excited about this. It seems that you're always seeing in the Facebook feed, the new person comes to town, they say, hi, what service should I get? So I think that'll be really good. I'm also glad because downtown tends to be one of those real dead zones. So if you're going down there for dinner and your family needs to get a hold of you, they kind of have to come find you. So I am excited about seeing this as well.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Councilmember Krebs.
I was just going to say that, in line with the public comment earlier about representing the city and our residents, I have to say that in the outreach during the campaign, the #1 concern that I heard was, improving the connectivity. So I'm happy to say that we have heard you, and through no effort of mine, since this is our first sort of real meeting, I want to thank the staff for making us look good and being responsive to a real important concern and well voiced concern from our community.
Thank you.
I'd like to quickly add my voice to that. Last campaign in 2018, campaign in 2014, campaign in 2012. And from my experience, it's side cracks and sidewalks, water rates, and cell phone connections. So I think we're hitting a big one here tonight, folks. This is a really big one.
And everything's been said, but it is a win-win. It's revenue for the city, it's connectivity for our residents, cell phone tower. But just a quick plug, we do have internet access at our Memorial Park and at our library. So just FYI for everyone out there. But with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve this item.
Move to approve.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember.
Second.
Councilmember Krebs, thank you. And City Clerk Aguilar, if you can do a vote, please.
Yes, ma'am. Motion to approve the land lease and revenue agreement with Singular Wireless to construct an AT&T cell phone tower on city-owned property. Mayor Rachelle Arizmendi.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Gingas.
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly Crepes.
Aye.
And Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
Motion to approve is unanimously passed.
Thank you, City Clerk Aguilar. And our last item on discussion is City Attorney Garagosian. I believe you'll be presenting this, sir.
I will. Thank you, Mayor. So today's ordinance tries to tackle two problems the city was facing. So first, under the government code requires that the mayor sign all documents. Generally, the practice has been in the city when we want to delegate that authority, we'll delegate that authority either in the staff report of the resolution itself, but sometimes we don't. And then when we don't, there's confusion as to who's supposed to sign. And anytime there's confusion, it goes back to the mayor for signature. This ordinance seeks to resolve that issue. Government Code Section 40602 authorizes the city council to delegate by ordinance who has signature authority. So going forward, if the city council were to adopt this ordinance, the mayor would be the one to sign all the warrants. The mayor would be the one to sign the resolutions and ordinances of the city. And in terms of city contracts, unless the mayor or the council reserves that authority to sign it for themselves, they'd be delegating that authority to sign contracts on behalf of the city to the city manager or to his designee. So that's the first issue that's being resolved by this ordinance. The second issue is, as you know, COVID has caused the closure of City Hall. So it's difficult for people to access City Hall. In addition, we're trying to limit person-to-person contact. So by authorizing the use of digital signatures, both the mayor and city staff, likely city department heads, will be issued electronic signatures that they'll be issued digital signatures that they can now use to execute whatever documents they're authorized to execute.
Thank you, City Attorney, for that presentation. And for City Council, do we have any questions about Ordinance 1438 and this new chapter? Looks like,
Madam Mayor,
yes. City Manager.
Mr. City Attorney, one question about the delegation to the city manager. How does that sync with any obligations, either by law or by ordinance, that the council approve contracts? I just the delegation seems to be for any written contracts entered into by the city, but I assume that doesn't override the need to get council approval for certain contracts by practice or by law.
Exactly, Councilmember Preeb. So if any time, the city council still needs to approve the contract. But after the city council approves the contract, only then can the city manager sign on behalf of the city. Anytime, and I don't think this is the case, I can't recall a specific case under state law that requires this, but if state law does require expressly that the mayor execute a contract, then that signing authority that the city manager has is going to be overridden by state law. But otherwise, anytime the city council authorizes the execution of a contract, like for example, this cell tower lease that we approved today, the city manager would have the authority to execute on behalf of the city.
Madam Mayor?
And before I ask Councilmember Parkhurst to share his question, I am going to ask if anyone does have a public comment and you are calling in, please do so now so we can get you in the queue. And with that, Councilmember Parkhurst, your next question.
Yes. Mr. Gregorian, are there any other costs other than the, looks like just under $500, depending on which electronic signing software we go with? Is there any other fiscal impact of this ordinance?
No, that's a council member.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions for City Attorney Gregorian on this item before we open it up for public comment? Seeing none, Mr. Delgado, do we have any inners, or anyone on the Zoom call that is raising their hand?
Madam Mayor, if you are on the Zoom call and you would like to provide comment, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll allow maybe 30 seconds to see if anyone actually dials in, but currently you do not have any public comment.
Give it just a moment to make sure no one else is calling in. Okay, and still no calls in, Mr. Delgado?
You do not have any callers, Madam Mayor.
Thank you much. And we will bring this back to council for discussion. If there's anything further anyone would like to comment on?
I had a question for staff.
Okay, please, Councilman Creeps.
Are there current parameters in place for signing authority in terms of certain dollar threshold or 2 signatures needed for certain things, or who can sign what in terms of contracts if those are delegated?
Councilmember Krebs, yes, we have established authorities for the city manager depending on the type of purchase, and then we also have internal controls for the purchasing authority of directors as well.
Any further discussion? I'm just looking forward to moving into the digital age of signing online, and I think this is definitely technology we needed to incorporate despite our virtual and remote world. And if there are no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve this new chapter in Ordinance 1438.
I move to approve the new chapter in Ordinance 1438.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Creeps for the second, and Madam City Clerk, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Yes, ma'am. A motion to approve consideration of Ordinance 1438, an ordinance adding Chapter 1.10 signatures to Title I, General Provisions of the Sierra Madre Municipal Code regarding the delegation of signing authority and the use of digital signatures for first reading. Mayor.
Aye.
Arizmendi, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Gingas.
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Aye.
and Councilmember Kelly Creeps,
Aye.
Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
The motion to approve first reading, Madam Mayor, has passed unanimously.
Unanimous passage on that item. And so that brings us to our public hearing that again is going to be scheduled for 6:30. So what I'm going to ask for us to do is to take a recess at this time. It's 5:16, and if everyone can log on at least 5 minutes before 6:30, so 5:25, and or if you want to say, what's that, Council, Mayor Pro Tem?
6:25.
6:25, thank you. And just a question to either maybe Mr. Delgado or Mr. Hernandez on the, are we going to keep this open? Can we stay logged on?
Yes, we are going to keep this meeting open. We're going to put up a slide that we are in recess. And if you do leave the meeting, you will just re-enter with the same link that you used when you logged on F4.
Great, thank you very much. And so we will recess until 6:25. We'll see you all then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready to go.
Okay, thanks so much. Welcome back, everyone, if anyone else is joining us from the public. But we are reconvening from our regularly scheduled, or it's actually special meeting for the City Council. We recessed after we were done with the agenda, and now we're moving into public comment. And so now we have a public hearing regarding the formation of downtown landscaping and lighting maintenance district and direction for the tabulation of assessments ballot. And I'm not sure if management analyst Sophia Kwatsky or Director of Public Works Samina will be presenting on this, but I'll hand off the microphone to either one of you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. I'll be taking over this one. So tonight's public hearing is in regards to the formation of the Downtown Landscaping and Lighting Maintenance District. For some background, the city currently has 4 special assessment districts, which finance various services and improvements that the central business district of the city benefits from. However, 2 of these districts are assessed on a benefit per parcel charge, and they operate at a deficit and require a subsidy from the general fund. And the remaining 2 are assessed on property value. They operate at a very large surplus and have a fund balance of nearly $700,000. So if formed, this new district would combine these 4 separate assessment districts into one, and this one district would handle all of the lighting, landscaping, and park maintenance for these properties on that benefit per parcel charge. So it would no longer be based on property value. This would result in a decrease in total amounts assessed by about $38,000 per year. Council adopted resolutions initiating these proceedings, approving the engineer's report and setting the date of this public hearing on November 10th. And then on November 24th, assessment ballots were mailed to property owners within the district's boundary. Tonight's public hearing would typically close and the ballot tabulation would be completed this evening. However, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, changes have been made to the time and place of this meeting, and along with the outdoor evening weather conditions, it's not feasible to tabulate the ballots tonight. So it is recommended that the City Council take the following action by motion. They would open a public hearing regarding the levy of the fiscal year 2021-2022 assessments and receive assessment ballot submissions for the Downtown Landscaping and Lighting Maintenance District. And then after receiving public comments, testimony, and additional submissions, They would continue the public hearing beyond this evening's meeting and set a time and place for the tabulation of the assessment ballots to the next regular council meeting. So that means this tabulation would then occur on January 26th, 2021 at 4 p.m. This would be at the Memorial Park band shell, so that tabulation is easily accessible to the public. If weather conditions are not suitable for counting outdoors, the tabulation will occur at the City Council chambers. We would just make that open to the public and accommodate for safe distancing in accordance with the county health officer orders. This concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions. Our consultants at NBS who prepared the engineer's report and helped with the balloting process are also here, should you have any questions for them as well.
Okay, thank you, Management Analyst Kovnatsky. Before I ask my colleagues if we have any questions, I do want to ask if anybody is wanting to make a comment on this publicly, that you make your phone calls in now, and or if you're on the Zoom meeting, just prepare to raise your hand so that we can get people in the queue. And so with that, again, I know this is a very unusual process, and the recessing and then the reconvening and then the continuance to the 26th. But again, given that we had notified some of the businesses about the 6:30 time, to avoid any confusion, as we've already had confusion with our special call meetings and Zoom meetings and public meetings, I think it was it was best to keep the timing of this, at least for tonight. And again, we're going to have the extension of this discussion for in 2 weeks on the 26th. So with that, I would like to open it up to the council if you have any questions for staff on this item.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Parkhurst.
do we know, and can we ask how many ballots have been received? And, number-wise and percentage-wise, or do we need to wait until the 26th for that?
Councilmember Parkhurst, we don't know how many have been received, and we won't begin to count or tabulate until the next public hearing on the 26th.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will open this now for public comment.
Madam Mayor, we don't have any attendees through the Zoom at this time, but I believe we should probably allow maybe a couple seconds just to ensure that nobody's actually calling at this moment.
Sure, that sounds good.
Madam Mayor, if I may, while we're waiting.
Councilmember Garcia, please.
As far as the information being disseminated to the property owners this time around, I know some of the discussion has happened in previous council meetings, but as far as the benefit to those that will be within these assessment districts, was there a different approach as to articulating the benefits to the owners and therefore to the tenants of these properties?
Yeah, so aside from just this typical ballots that we sent out explaining everything, we sent out an additional mailer essentially showing all of the benefits of the parcel. And then we also personalized them to each parcel owner. So they got to see how much they're paying currently, how much they would be paying proposed, and over the next couple of years as well.
Thank you. Okay, are there any
Mayor, you do not have any callers for public comment at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Delgado. So I'll bring it back to, we can definitely have discussion if the council members wish to discuss further. And or the motion for this, that when I request for a motion will be a little different. It will be a motion to continue the public hearing beyond tonight's event and to set the place and time for the tabulation of the assessments on January 26th, which is our next regular meeting, but I still think it's called a special call meeting because it's 4 o'clock on the 26th. So again, that motion will include that setting of the time, but it'll also stipulate that the tabulations will occur at the band shell, weather permitting, and if not, it will be moved to chambers.
Mayor,
So, yes.
Just one point of clarification. All of that is correct, with the exception of the 4 o'clock meetings will be the regular council meetings at this time.
So they're now, 4 o'clock meetings are now regular council meetings.
Correct, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Let's make that a little bit more confusing. So with that, do we have any further discussions with the council? And whoever's brave enough to make that motion with all of that information, please do so. Would you like to entertain a first? No one wants to step up.
Okay,
Can I
I'll give it a
just say I
shot.
move? Or do I need to state the whole, can
Okay.
analyst Konoski give us some help in what the motion should be, or put the motion so that we can take it forward?
I can actually help on that. The motion will be to continue the public hearing beyond this evening's meeting and set the place and time for the tabulation of assessment ballots for the next regular city council meeting, January 26th, 2021 at 4 p.m. at the Memorial Park Bandshell, weather permitting. If weather is not suitable for tabulation to occur outdoors, the tabulation will occur at the city council chambers.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Parkhurst, do I have a second?
Second.
I heard a couple there. I may have heard Councilmember Krebs on that one. Madam City Clerk, if I can have a roll call vote, please.
Yes, thank you. So the motion to continue the public hearing to the January 26th council meeting at 4 p.m. at the Bandshell, weather permitting, or city council chambers, weather not permitting. The motion was made by Councilmember Robert Parkhurst, seconded by Councilmember Kelly Krebs. The vote, Madam Mayor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss,
Aye.
Councilmember Edward Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly Krebs,
Aye.
and Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Aye.
The motion has passed. The public hearing will be continued to January 26th, a day certain at 4 p.m. so that the tabulation of the Proposition 218 ballots may conclude.
Great. Thank you very much for that. So with that, I think that concludes our agenda. Do we have any items for future agenda discussion or items for action?
I just have a question, Mayor.
Sure.
Where are we in the process of the appointment of the city clerk permanently?
Councilmember Krebs, the second reading of that ordinance allowing the city manager to make the appointment will be on January 26th. And then 30 days after that effective date, I will make an appointment for the city clerk.
Thank you.
One item we'd like to see for the next meeting is the appointments of the intercommission and also, what was the other commission we needed?
Library Board.
Thank you, Library Board of Trustees. So if we can see that for the 26th. I know that we have charged intercommission with the wildlife program and we had a vacancy there. So I would think it would be prudent to get that done, and as well as the Library Board.
And do we have applications for both?
Councilmember Parkhurst, we currently have 3 applications submitted for the Board of Trustees, which would allow us to bring that forward. We have 2 submitted for the intercommission, but council can at any time ask staff to bring forward the applications for the full council to consider.
And do we need to do that in advance of the council, or can we ask them to, I guess we have to bring it forward so the people can be there. Is that correct?
I think with the mayor's request, we'll bring them both forward at the meeting on the 26th. And what will happen is staff will contact the applicants, let them know it's being considered, and provide the contact information to the city council should the city council members want to contact each applicant beforehand.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other items for future agendas? Okay, seeing none, I think that concludes our meeting tonight. Nice job for our first full meeting with our new council members. With that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Second.
I think we can assume, or can we not assume? Yes, we can assume. I will just do it formally. Madam City Clerk, if we can get a roll call vote on adjournment.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, would you like to adjourn?
Aye, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Goss,
Yes.
Councilmember Edward Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps,
Yes.
and Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, you have a unanimous vote to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. And again, congratulations and welcome new city council members. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.